Bim, guess what? It's Saturday, it's 8 o'clock. That can only mean one thing. It's the 19th of August. Well, that's not the only thing it can be, because obviously there's other Saturdays at 8 o'clock. But anyway, it is the 19th of August, 2023, and it is what a week that was. Yeah, we're going to look at the week's news. News section we do now to begin with is we look at the breaking news. More boots to shut as 300 sites are set to close down permanently in cutbacks. We've already lost a Boots in Wigan, but it was only the opticians one, which has moved into the one at Robin Park, and apparently is doing better now than it did when it was in the town centre, so there you go. Pardon me. Europe is heading into another heat wave. Iceland shutting 4 more stores. That's not exactly breaking news. Lloyds Bank is closing more branches. Full list of closures this year. Hi JT, hi Rachel, hope you're good. Don't forget if you listen to this on your podcast, then you know what's going on. So we got a full list of what's going on there. Continue reading. Cheddar, Cinderford, Mortimer, Pifwelly, Caldecots, Llandrod, Wells, Holyhead, Wallingford, Waltham, Helston, Lewes, Staithwaite, Welshpool, Lambton, Norbury, Pontefract, Beckenham, Gillingham, Chingford, Dagenham, Marylebone Street in London, Ipswich, Weybridge, Twickenham and Winstable, Beeston, Wickersley, Bornham, Littlehampton, Rustington, Aintree, Liverpool, Shaftesbury, Newport, Ripley, Hyde, yeah, I know that one, I've been in that branch a few times, Harrow, Benton, Peterborough, Fulwood, Chapeltown, Holloway Road in London, Carlton, Cambridge, Shepton Mallet, Hazel Grove, Oxford Circus, London, Threadneedle Street, London, Tumble, Eckington, New Mills, Wootton under Edge, Newcastle upon Tyne, wow, East Horsley, somewhere I can't pronounce, Doncaster, Gloucester, oh god, there's more, South Molton, Liphook, Hazelmere, Leeds, Bournemouth, Kidlington, Slough, Northampton, Knightsbridge, Penton, Llanchnin, Cromer, Thirsk, St David's, Aylesbury, Farnborough, Leicester, Knightsbridge again, Bolton, Brighton, Horford, Rubery, Sidcup, Piccadilly, London, Swinton, Lincoln, Avonmouth, Callington, Keighley and St Nuts. Many of them places I've not looked at or heard of even. But yeah, why the banks closing branches? Well, 2 reasons. One is we don't need massive banks anymore due to the fact that, well, not to put it too bluntly, technology's got smaller. So why the hell would we need a massive Victorian building as a bank? However, I'm now under the impression, and I wrote about this in the paper last week, was it this week? One of them anyway. Hey, welcome back Angela, hope you're good. Yeah, I wrote about it in one of the papers, and I think I mentioned it last time, that they are trying to get us to use cards and phones and not use cash. So there's no banks, we can't go in and use cash, we can't pay cash in, so we're more likely to use the cards. The problem with that is that the bank knows exactly where you've been, what you spend on, also the apps as well of the bank are allowed permissions or ask for permissions. If you allow all permissions, it can look at your photos, it can look at your messages, it can look at your internet search history, all that kind of stuff. And basically we are being spied on like Big Brother, and this is all part of it as far as I'm concerned. I know I sound like a conspiracy theorist, which I hate, but let's be honest, it's got to be that, it can't be anything else. It's just ridiculous at the moment what is going on, and I feel like people can't actually see what is happening. We are being shoved into our little boxes. Anyway, what else is going on in the news? Prince William has said sorry we can't be there in person to the Lionesses who've got through to the final tomorrow. Wilco slashes prices as rescue bids weighed up. Obviously Wilco's have gone into administration, and like I said last week, and will continue to say it's unlikely that anyone's going to buy them to snap up any of their sites when that's going to cost money to buy them and then shut down the sites that they don't want. It's easier to let them go bust. Crueler, but easier to let them go bust, doesn't cost you anything, and then speak to the landlords of the site you're interested in, and then get it that way. Otherwise, buying it to shut it down is just a complete suicide mission for anyone else, for example B&Ms. But anyway, we'll see. A new COVID Parky strain hits UK. Royal Mail shares full list of areas most affected by postal delays. We don't really use the post anymore, do we? McLaren defended under fire sponsor and Mercedes concept fears emerge. I'll have to wait and see what that means. It's all F1 though. Most satisfying stores, stylish stores for Christmas shopping. Well, obviously, games are more in Wigan. Goes without saying, doesn't it? Costco looking to open 14 stores. Travel warning for anyone taking hand luggage on Ryanair, EasyJet, and is that British Airways as well? Yeah, B&A and Jet2. New bag restrictions are in place apparently, so check before you fly. Lewis Hamilton rejects contract and disaster in the US. So hope he retires. That would be fantastic. We need to revive our high streets, and here's my plan to do it, says someone in the Daily Mail. Well, the easiest way of doing that is to get rid completely of business rates for any retail outlet less than 10,000 square feet, because that way you would keep in Amazon, but then you charge online retailers for the warehouse space that they use as if it is a retail unit, because technically it is. All these massive Amazon warehouses all over the country are technically retail units, but you don't walk around them, you just browse them on your device, again being monitored for everything you do. What I don't understand is when you buy something off Amazon, like an air fryer for example, which I recently bought, it recommends every time I go on air fryers. I'm like, well, I've just bought one, why would I want another one? I mean, maybe recommend, I don't know, a sandwich maker, a toaster or something like that, but anyway, yeah, madness. Right, I think that's it for the breaking news. Sainsbury's shares urgent recall as items could catch fire. Do not use. That's not breaking news, that was yesterday. Philip Massa starts legal action over 2008 F1 title loss to Lewis Hamilton. Absolutely nonsense. I mean, it's like 15 years ago. Who cares? I don't even care about it. And that's it, I think. Someone's been to the same seaside village in Devon 33 times. That's hardly a news story. Yeah, so anyway, that's it. So we'll get on to the regular news. Oh my word. Please don't go there. I don't get experience with no cash in a garden centre in Ormskirk. 6 watching, please come and chat. Lewis Hamilton is releasing a new single duet with Ed Sheeran. Well, hey! Please hit the like. Oh, there's hi, Anne, love to see you. And you, Angela. Right, okay, so all the pleasantries are currently underway, which is always nice. We like a bit of pleasantry. So let's look at the news proper, shall we? So we start off with Sunday's news. Obviously, this is last week. Today's Saturday. Alex S. I'm very good. Alex S. Is that Alex's or Alex S? I assume it's Alex S or Alec S. Oh, I don't know. Anyway, hiya, Alex S. I had to confuse a simple person. Just come on my show and start chatting. Anyway, we are looking at the news from the week. So we start off, obviously we'll be looking at American news later on. We've got Trump, we've got Letby, and my anger over the coverage of Letby, and various other things as well. But we start, remember the fires in Hawaii? Well, apparently, no one else does these days. We seem to forget about them. By the time Sunday came along, almost 100 were feared dead, and many more missing. in the horrendous fire on Maui Island. Meanwhile, in New Zealand, new rules coming in to stop kids from vaping. They put new regulations in place, but apparently it's not working, it's not good enough. And let's be honest, vaping is probably the most dangerous thing you can do with your lungs. I even put smoking ahead of vaping as being safer, because at least smoking, A, we know what the damage is long term, and B, the majority of the stuff in a cigarette is natural. Obviously there's a few chemicals in there, but when you're vaping, you're putting into your lungs just a huge amount of chemicals, and you've no idea what they are. You bought them off the market stall for a tenner. They're not regulated or anything, but in New Zealand they're trying to stop the kids from vaping, and I think that is a good thing. Alex is fine, just shortened my last name. Just what happens in Hawaii, yes. We come to Tenerife in a bit. I'm not leaving them out, don't worry. So that was it. I must admit, the week's news this week has been dominated again, and I hate it when the news is dominated by not many items, which means there's not a lot to talk about really, and I don't really get angry. Tragic news, which kind of broke the week before, although I think I might have mentioned it, but only in passing, and that was the discovery of a 10-year-old girl body alone in a house. It turns out now that the day before her body was found, 3 people, including her father, left the UK to go to Pakistan, and apparently now it turns out, we've learnt today or yesterday, that the father rang up the police from Pakistan to say that, well, to go to the house and then basically find the body. So the police now in Pakistan are looking for them. There are 3 people that they're looking for, all of whom obviously were known to the tragic situation. I've stopped vaping now. Oh dear, I hope that's not because of me. Actually, no, I do hope it's because of me. I feel like I've done you some favours. As long as you haven't took up smoking. Because that would be good. Right then, our NHS England is streamlining its cancer treatment process. So the diagnosis target has gone to 1 month. So you get an urgent GP referral at the beginning, and then you pretty much cut out now the consultant appointment, and you go whether the cancer is confirmed or ruled out within a month, and within 2 months treatment starts, which all sounds great. The problem is, and no one else has said this, but I'm like, we've already got a massive waiting list of 7.5 million people. I mean, okay, not all for cancer, but we've got 7.5 million people in the waiting list. So how the hell does speeding things up for the people who are now getting diagnosed going to work when we've got the backlog from the people who were in the old system? Doesn't make sense. I mean, it's great, but I don't think it's actually ever going to work, because, well, it can't, can it? You can't suddenly disappear 7.5 million people so you can rush things forward. And like I've said many times before, we've got a lot of office blocks in cities that are empty. We need to convert them to Nightingale wards. When people have a knee replacement, a hip replacement, once they're out of danger but not well enough to go home, they get sent to one of these wards, which are manned by trainee doctors, retired nurses and retired doctors. So you still got the same treatment that you would have in hospital, but you're not taking up a hospital bed, so that hospital bed can be used quicker for someone else to have the operation, and that way that would get the numbers down. And then once we've got them within a reasonable area, we then close down these Nightingale wards, and then we move on and sort out the NHS. I mean, I said this all the way back when they were dismantling the Nightingale hospitals, that this is what we should do. But anyway, we didn't, because the government doesn't listen to me, because they're off the rads. Hiya Luke, hope you're good. Anyway, talking of government weirdness, the barge that's been brought in for the migrants, 500, will be on that barge at some point, is still empty after the Legionnaire's virus was found within the water system on there, which I would assume means that the government doesn't have to pay for this. It's up to the owners of the barge to fix that, and also recompense the government for any monies in that they are meant to be paying for the delay of getting the people on there. The problem is that 500 people on there isn't going to make a huge amount of difference, because there's more than 500 people coming over on a good day anyway. So we need basically 365 of these barges so that we can put people on the barges when they arrive over, which of course is complete nonsense. What we need to do, no paperwork, you just go straight back to France. No messing, no faffing, no hotels, no nothing. It's broken news today that there's a hotel in Wigan, a very posh hotel, which has been closed down and reopened for migrants. People have got the weddings arranged there, all been cancelled. People have booked rooms there, all been cancelled, all for migrants. We don't need to house these migrants. If they've not got the right paperwork, they know they are here illegally. And I said this in the shop today, and someone said, well, what about if they come from Afghanistan? I said, fair point. If they come from Afghanistan, they may have had their documents destroyed. But they've passed through many countries to get to France, to get then on an illegal boat and pay money to get to the UK. In the meantime, they've passed how many British embassies in different countries? Why couldn't they go to one of those embassies? And then rather than paying criminals and then risking their lives on the busiest shipping channel in the world to get to the UK illegally, they get through on the right channels. Admitted, we shouldn't have gone into, and I've said this many times, we shouldn't have gone in Afghanistan, Iraq, Iran. We should have left them as they were. Illegal war. Blair and Bush should be in prison for war crimes. But we are where we are. There's not a lot we can do about this, but the situation needs to be resolved ASAP. If I was fleeing the UK for a legitimate reason, not because I'd murdered or raped someone or anything like that, I wasn't fleeing to get away from the law, I was fleeing for a genuine reason, I would have my paperwork on me. When I arrived in France or Belgium or America or wherever, I would say immediately, look, these are my documents, this is why I'm here, please give me asylum, please save me and my family, blah blah blah. Anyway, I've mentioned this so many times, it's unbelievable. I was just saying, they don't wait for the report for Legionnaire test to come back, they just threw them on the barge. Yeah, but to be fair, the barge should not have been handed over if Legionnaire was possibly going to be on there. It should have been safety checked before it was handed over to the government and before the government put people on it. You don't just get somewhere and stick people in something without checking it first. And if you're renting somewhere or leasing something, it's your legal obligation to make sure that that is fit for purpose. So the people who have leased it and said to the government, yes, you can put people on here, should be held accountable. Because, you know, if I lease something to someone and it wasn't safe and someone got hurt or got legionnaires or whatever, then I'd be comparable for it. I'm breaking my teeth then for me dog. Meanwhile, Donald Trump, everyone's favourite ex-president, said very few people apart from Luke Marsden and one or two other people. He said on Monday that he's going to face new indictments, and he expects to get arrested again and go to another courthouse. And we're like, yeah, okay, whatever, because it's getting a bit boring now, I'll be honest with you. Is it conspiracy theory against him? Is it conspiracy against him, actually, not a conspiracy theory? Or is he just genuinely a wrong-un? I think it's possibly a bit of both. I don't think he helps himself in any stretch of the imagination, but I do think there's also an element of, you know, people are genuinely scared of him, so they're picking on him in any way they can legally do it, rather than pushing him out of a hotel window, because it's not Russia, it's America, and they don't have hotel windows that people can fall out of because they have health and safety checks there, and they are fit for purpose, unlike barges that have been leased to the UK government. Hashtag just saying. Anyway, Tuesday came along, and guess what? Trump and 18 allies are indicated in Georgia, not the country, the state. They're charged with conspiring to overturn the 2020 election. It's former president's fourth criminal indictment this year. You're like, wow, this is ridiculous. He's charged with, amongst many things, conspiracy, racketeering, paying an officer, which is illegal, to do stuff that he wants to do, and it's the charges that are usually brought against mobsters. Now, I can see a bit of a mobster in Donald Trump. He does have that air of arrogance that's a bit mobstery, so it kind of makes sense. But yeah, it does just seem a little bit bizarre that it's just going on and on and on, and he can still stand as president. And technically, if he was found guilty and ended up in prison, he could actually pardon himself as well, which means he could then get, yeah, it's bonkers. The American justice system is bonkers. Meanwhile, in the UK, 3 Bulgarians were arrested and charged with spying for Russia. They've been living in the UK for quite a while, and they've been sending information back to the Russian government. As to what that information is, well, we won't know because obviously it's secret. But yeah, not very nice thing to do. But these people were here and didn't come on barges, they come here legally. England's women's football team are doing okay in something or other. Headline CPI inflation falls to 6.8% in July, which is the lowest it's been for a few months. In fact, it's the lowest it's been, looking at this, for 2 years. Crikey. Didn't realise it was that long back. But yeah, March 22. Yeah, it's over a year, 18 months. So it's the lowest it's been for over 18 months. It doesn't mean prices are coming down, it just means that they're not going up as quick. People think that when inflation comes down, prices will come down. It doesn't work like that. Inflation is how high prices are going. We kind of need deflation, but the problem you have is if you get deflation, then we have a massive crash of the economy, and then we get inflation. So it's quite tricky to do. Now, it's natural that the prices are coming down because things are coming down. However, I've noticed fuel is going up. And that is moderately terrifying, that the fuel prices are going up again, because, well, it's just shocking. A man aged 39 was arrested over the Northern Ireland police link, and another man has been fired from the British Museum regarding missing, stolen and broken artifacts, and the police are now involved. They weren't on display, but apparently it's been described as the imperfect inside job. Junior doctors in Scotland, they're alright, agree to a 12.4% pay offer and will cease striking. Meanwhile, in the UK, in England, our little 15-year-old leader of the junior doctors with his little glasses and everything is still demanding 35%, and we'll keep going out on strike until we get 35%, because I'm a spoilt little bastard and I want my money. Yeah. The new owners of the Crooked pub, the Crooked House Hotel, which was bought by them and then mysteriously caught fire not long after some rubble and dirt was placed in the driveway, which meant that the fire engines couldn't get anywhere near it, so they had to run hoses, by which point the fire had really took hold. Have had another fire in one of their other companies, which is deemed slightly suspicious as well, and that was a tyre recycling centre which burnt a few years ago. So suspicions are being raised as to maybe these two might not be as honest as they look in that lovely photograph there. Oh, sweet. 12.4% increase. Yes, 12.4%. Good for them. Hello from sunny Up Holland. So we've got Up Holland now represented. We've got Standish represented. I think we've got Marsh Green represented. Hasn't the MP for the area of the Crooked Pub asking for it to be rebuilt, and the mayor of the area as well said the same as well? There's lots of S wells in there, but yes, you're right. Basically what they're saying is the pub should be rebuilt exactly to how it was, because it was also very weird that there was this fire and this rubble that the fire engine couldn't get past because, well, it's a fire engine, it's not a bulldozer, so it couldn't get past. But on the other side of that, and not too far away, was a a cat digger thing with one of them buckets on, you know, the arms things and everything, which the following day demolished the pub, which destroyed the evidence and also was against planning regulations because the council hadn't said the building could be destroyed, mainly due to the fact that no one had gone in to actually analyse it. So I think there could be some severe consequences for these two if they are found out to be bad uns, wrong uns. Talking of which, we haven't had wrong un in yet. Slightly suspicious, yes, indeed. It's a historical building, it deserves to be brought back. It does. And people have actually nicked bricks from it as well, so technically now it can't be rebuilt brick by brick. But the thing is, the building itself was crooked on the inside. If you've seen photographs, you know, the whole thing is kind of tilted and twisted. So when you're inside, you've got like, you know, you're stood on the floor straight, but the doors and the grandfather clock look like that. But to be fair, they're straight and you're stood at an angle. It looks amazing. And yeah, the whole thing it just reeks of conspiracy and all that. But the worst thing they could do is rebuild that front wall and then build the pub flat. No, you've got to build it. You've got to build the whole thing cockeyed. Maybe stabilise it a bit more. But yeah, the whole thing does stink of a burnt down pub, if I'm being honest. Isn't it a criminal charge, destruction of a crime scene? Yes, it is. But it wasn't proven to be a crime scene, but it's also a criminal charge to destroy a building without planning permission. You can definitely go to court for it and maybe even go to prison for that. I'm only for 30 minutes or so, got to go and help my elderly mum into bed. Okay, no worries, Dotty lady. The drinks slowly slide off the table, yeah. I think, to be fair, I think they have the tables with wonky legs as well, so it all balances up. Anyway, we'll keep going because we've got to keep Dotty lady up to date with all the news. Sad news this week that Parky has died. Michael Parkinson, who was most famous for interviewing Muhammad Ali and various other people as well on his chat show, Parkinson, but will always be remembered for being attacked by, as someone described it, Rodol's hand, which basically was emu in a hilarious thing. But yeah, 88 years old, last seen on TV advertising Yorkshire tea. And prior to that was advertising those life insurance things, and obviously decided didn't want to do it anymore. But the company, Sun Life I think it was, they did an advert with the elderly gentleman and lady, and he says, oh yes, you know, I'm with Sun Life, and she goes, oh, the one with Parky, and he goes, yes, exactly. And obviously Parkinson and his family were not happy about that because he was being represented in an advert that he was not involved with, so they soon changed that, and that amused me no end as well. Anyway, we move on to A-level results. Apparently A-level results grades are down considerably on previous years, however they are up on what they were before the pandemic. And in Tenerife, as mentioned earlier on, we've got more wildfires burning. Now the problem with these wildfires, as I've said many times before, is they actually add to the problem, because, you know, people say, oh, you can't burn coal fires, oh, you can't have wood burning in your back garden, oh, you can't use a petrol engine, and then we've got entire wildernesses and islands and forests burning, killing animals and insects and wild plants and all that kind of stuff, but also massively increasing the amount of carbon in the atmosphere. And if you think about it, there are fires burning all over the world, including in America. I think there was some in Alaska as well, or was that last year? Might have been last year, that. And then we've obviously got them in Greece, and apparently we've got another heat wave coming to southern Europe, so imagine we're going to go back to where we were. Alan Barton says Parky was the best interviewer of them all. Yeah, that pub's a civil engineer's worst nightmare. Yes, you're right, Alex. So yeah, it's a shocker. It really is. The global warming thing. Now, this is where it gets very brief. Friday. This is where I get angry with the BBC. I even X'd it. Used to be tweeted, but now I X'd it. Particularly local BBC News, who did an entire half hour on the Lucy Letby murder verdict, which was obviously guilty of the poor innocent young babies. I am not demeaning the crimes or her by any stretch of the imagination, but from 6 o'clock to half 6, BBC One News have been 90% on about it, and then from half 6 to 7 o'clock, Northwest Tonight did nothing but go on about it, didn't even show a weather report. Now come on, if I wanted to watch horrific news for an hour, I would go to the BBC channel, or I'd go to Sky News, or I'd go on the internet. I want to watch local news about local things. I want to know what the weather is in my local area. And what made it worse, particularly for Northwest Tonight, was they were doing these, which had obviously been pre-recorded, like little stories of what went on, and, you know, talking to the bereaved families and all that. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that, you know, there's no excuse for what she did. It was evil, it was twisted, it was wrong on so many levels. But then they started playing background music, and I'm like, what the f*** are you doing? You play background music. I even mourn when they play background music on documentaries about child killers and things like that, because it's disrespectful. You don't play music on a news show. It's bad enough when they go to a flower show on Northwest Tonight and they've got a fucking piano playing in the background while they're talking about the flowers. No, it's a news show. If I wanted to listen to plinky plonky music on either an important or trivial clip or item, I would watch the One Show, which incidentally I don't watch, or I would watch other programmes of similar things. Plinky plonky music is not suitable for a supposed serious news programme. So, with immediate effect, I am changing my news gathering sources to ITN, which will probably only last a week because that's even worse, to be fair. But no, I got really angry with Northwest Tonight for not showing the weather, not showing us any other news that had gone on in the area, and I know stuff had gone on in the area that was quite serious, and then showing these 3 or 4 minute mini documentaries with music. It's like, no, this is a news programme. It is not a programme where music is suitable. You don't play music on a news programme, particularly when you're talking about a mass murderer. I mean, the whole thing is sick, really sick. 100% pass rate for A-levels in Wigan, which is a great thing for the people doing A-levels. Heat wave, but it's raining down all across the northwest of the UK. Yep. I won't watch BBC, worst channel of them all. Corrupt organisation. I watch BBC News sometimes, keep used to it. Most for Doctor who are at BBC, who are at BBC. Oh yeah, okay. Doctor Who and BBC Parliament. Yeah, fair enough. But no, I was just fuming about it. And yeah, hopefully she'll get, you know, locked away for a very, very long time indeed. Which of course means then, no doubt on Monday, there'll be another half-hour programme of the sentence that she got. I mean, you know, there's other things going on. I'm not saying we're glamorising her, but it does feel like they are glamorising it. Let's mention her name 15 times in a 30-minute bulletin. Let's talk about nothing else but her. No, she's a criminal, she's a murderer, she's an abuser. She doesn't deserve the airtime that the BBC are giving her. And other channels as well, to be fair. But anyway, that brings us to Saturday, and guess what? One news item again. And this is the fact that there appears to be possibly a cover-up at the Countess of Chester Hospital of their inaction when consultants and doctors raised awareness of a mass murderer working in their department, and even pointing out correctly who it was, and nothing was done. Absolutely ridiculous. And again, hopefully, heads will roll, because you cannot, you know, you go to hospital, you expect to be looked after and come out safe and sound. The NHS is on its knees at the minute, many reasons for that, least of which is obviously government cutbacks, COVID, strikes, cost of living, everything going up, So the money that they've got to spread for less. So you've got to keep them warm. So you've got to pay for the electric, the heating, all that kind of stuff. The food for the patients, all that's gone up. Everything's gone up. The kitchen ovens and everything's gone up. But they've only got the same money, not less than what they had before. So yeah, the NHS is on its knees. But there's still, we've still got to sort it out. We've got to do something. I bet there'll be a film within 2 years. Hollywood beckons. No, she got found guilty yesterday, Alex. Hence the amount of news reporting on the TV. Sentencing is on Monday. Yeah, you say that, Dotty Lady. I found out today, just before I come up, I put Talk TV on and Andre was on. The guy who takes the mickey out of me when I go on. You've seen it on Wigan Watch and on my vlogs. And we have a bit of banter. We talk on the phone occasionally as well. But he was on about the BBC, of all people, have done a docudrama. So it's documentary stroke drama on, of all people, Jimmy Savile. I mean, come on. BBC. Mind blown. Absolutely. I saw an article talk about who her parents are, and it was like, do we need this? They didn't do anything. No, you cannot be held responsible for, anyone's actions if you're not aware of them. But anyway, yeah, I got a bit of a rant then. I didn't mean to rant today because we're going to America now. La 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 America, what's going on in America? I'll tell you what's going on in America. But we're not covering gun crime again in America. That's right, we're not doing gun crime this week. Once again, we are leaving the gun crime. It's still happening, obviously. But we are leaving the gun crime out of it. And we are just going to look at the other news that's been going on in the good old US of A. Why is that so big? Yeah, insert your own joke there. Or am I in the wrong place? I don't know what's going on there. What's that as well? Oh, right, hang on a minute. I'm not turning my light on. I thought it was a bit dull today. There we go. Yeah. 1 dead, 3 injured and several missing after a home explosion in Pittsburgh suburb. Now I've seen the clip of this from a door cam basically, just looking up a street. And it's a typical slightly hilly suburban area, white wooden houses, nice lawns, nice roads, drives and all that. And then all of a sudden there's just massive explosion. These houses blow up at the top of the hill. No, we don't need a bulletproof vest. We're not doing gun crime. Kansas newspaper co-owner 98 dies after being stressed beyond her limits from police raid. And you're like, eh? The owner of a Kansas newspaper allegedly died as a direct result of the unprecedented police raid against the publication and its staff after they obtained damaging information about a local businesswoman, which the paper had declined to publish. John Mayer died after being stressed beyond limits and overwhelmed by hours of shock and grief. So yeah, it's not good. But no guns were used. Bit of the Guinness has gone the wrong way. I accidentally ate the mushroom that killed 3 in Australia. How I survived. Australian woman Erin Patterson, 48, is suspected of intentionally killing 3 family members and critically wounding a 4th by feeding them a meal laced with death cap mushrooms last month. We reported on it in the Australian news, and we report on it again later on in the Australian news. As that investigation continues, an Australian man who miraculously survived eating the lethal fungus 25 years ago recently shared he felt he was like preparing for the end after reporting symptoms of vomiting, etc. But yeah, he survived. Probably vomiting helps you because you've got something that's poisonous in you, then vomiting it up is the best thing to do. If you want to know what vomiting tastes like, just have some of Ed Sheeran's chili Ted sauce in your mouth, or tangy Ted's sauce, put that in your mouth, swallow it, and then give it a few minutes and it feels like you've thrown up in the back of your throat. It's horrendous. It's alright when you cook with it, but no. Polish ruling party plans reforms, asking voters if they support accepting thousands of illegal immigrants. Poland's ruling party wants to ask voters in a referendum whether they support accepting thousands of illegal immigrants from the Middle East and Africa as parts of European Union relocation plan. The Prime Minister says his Conservative Party seeks the mandate of the people. Wow, a government that's actually asking the people something. We need a referendum. This is what I'm going to write about in the paper this week. We need a referendum for the British public. Number of questions. 1. If someone comes to the UK without documents, do we put them up in a hotel? Yes or no? 2. If people come here without documents, do we deport them back to their country of origin, if we know what it is, or do we just send them straight back to France? Number 3. Do we get rid of all this woke nonsense? Do we get rid of 55 billion genders? Do we not bring people back down to just man, woman? You can be trans man or trans woman, that's fine, but you're still a man or a woman. Or do we go through this rigmarole of 2% of the population deciding what the rest of us want? Referendum, yes or no? Mushroom risotto, anyone? No, I don't want mushroom risotto, thank you. What's the other referendum? There was another one as well. Oh, what was it? Oh yeah, gambling. Should we allow gambling companies to advertise on the TV, sponsor TV programs, sponsor sports events? Yes or no? No, well, maybe we should have a referendum about having a referendum. I mean, let's be honest, you know, we had a referendum last time, and, you know, yeah, anyway. But no, let's have a referendum. Let's ask the people what they want. Because no one's doing that. No one in governments or local councils are asking the people what they want. They say they are, but they're not. They're just doing what they want to further their careers. And at the end of the day, any politician is an employee of those who elected them into the position they are in. They are not the employers or the bosses of us. They are there to represent us and do the best for us, and they should listen to us as well. Oh yeah, hi Cougar, have you just joined us or something? Yeah, you must have done. But yeah, we need to have a referendum, and there's other stuff we could put out. I mean, obviously make it into a proper referendum, and you go yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, all the way down, and then we say right, you woke lefties or whatever you are, you can all go off, and we'll just get on with living a normal life. You know, should we stop people doing stuff that's really dangerous and stupid by keep them in the gene pool? Maybe that's going a bit too far, but you know what I mean. You know, we're mollycoddled and everything. Should we go with... that was the other one. Should we introduce electric vehicles? Should we scrap all clean air zones? Should we do this? There's loads of things we could do. And just go tick, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. And I guarantee the British public know more than the politicians, and we'd get this thing sorted. Where are we? It's just wording leading to approval. Welcome to the channel, and chap, hope you are well. Yeah, Cougar's a fairly new regular. Alex is a newbie. Dotty Lady's a regular as well, who I had a chat with in the shop a few weeks ago. We had someone else who was new, didn't we? Who was that? Daniel Vernon. No, Daniel's been in before. Well, there was quite a lot of chat. JT was in and out. Not the first time someone said that about him. Anyway. Inside the mushroom lunch, death and mystery that's gripping Australia. The mushrooms were to die for, and alleged poisoning is dominating Australian media. It's not. It really isn't dominating Australian media. There's lots of things dominating us. I follow Australian media. The mushroom thing is in Australian media, but it is not dominating. It is not a child killer, a baby killer, kind of news item. The mushrooms were to die for. Alleged poisoning dominating Australian media. No. As authorities suspect Erin Patterson, 48, of Leganathra, which is intentionally laced a lunch for her former in-laws, killing 3 people and critically wounding a Baptist pastor. Yeah, it's just weird news. It's Australia, isn't it? Gambling as it should be on before a certain time. Don't just eat mushrooms. The problem does not exist. That's a good point, Cougar. Can't argue with that. As death toll from Maui fire reaches 89, authorities say effort to count the losses is just starting. Yeah, I mean, the problem you've got is that many people died in the houses, and there's also rumours and speculations that people were not warned just how severe these fires were, and they could have left and possibly survived rather than staying at home and getting burnt to death in their own houses. It's horrendous what's gone on over there. Skittles are facing a backlash over pro-LGBTQ packaging. Time to Bud Light them, people are saying. Taste the wokeness. Skittles is getting pushback from the Conservatives who have soured the popular candy's new woke pro-LGBTQ packaging, threatening a repeat of the boycott that cost the makers of Bud Light billions of dollars. I think it's a bit petty, but we do need to start thinking about, do we need to ram this stuff down everyone's throat just because a small percentage of the population is it thinks in a certain way or has certain beliefs or certain desires or whatever, which is fine. Does it need to be literally rammed down everyone's throat? No, it doesn't. It's just literally, I know a lot of people who are in the LGBT community, and most of them are absolutely fed up with all this because they just want to get on with their lives, but all this is just dragging them down as well. And it's like, you know, people have said to them, oh, your lot, kind of thing. Now, we've not said stuff like that since the 70s. My mother still does say that, though, occasionally. When the doctor comes round to see, she goes, oh, he was one of those, and I had to figure out what she's on about. Because one of those for her covers many different variants, but LGBT is definitely one of them. But no, the whole thing is a nonsense. Yeah, by all means, you know, you have stuff that goes on. Like, I have no problem with pride. I have no problem with, you know, people wanting to dress how they want, be how they want, you know, sleep with who they want. It's fine. It's your life, it's your body. But we don't all need to know. It's getting to the stage now where how do you know someone is vegan? And they will tell you repeatedly. Well, it's getting like that now, only it's everywhere you look. The LGBT flag is literally everywhere. I mean, we don't even have the Union flag as much as we have the LGBT flag. In America, it's all the stars and stripes. And I think over here, if I was president or prime minister, I shouldn't be president, I would say that I would expect you to have some kind of representation of the Union, i.e. the Union Jack as most people call it, somewhere on your property. We need to be proud of our country. We need to, you know, not necessarily have the flag hanging outside or something, but we need to support our country, and we need to, you know, make it nice and lovely, make it great again. Where are we? Loads of writing gone up. They need to check one. Oh no, we've done that one. I came to Wigan Town Centre for the first time in a while, to the Grand Arcade, and Bottle coming in to say hi as I'm shy. I'm shy as well, Luke, trust me. I have very low self-esteem, but I'm only confident when I am in charge. So when I'm doing all my filming and everything, I can be in a public place filming myself and I'm fine. As soon as someone else is holding the camera and filming me, I go to pieces. I'm very socially awkward. And obviously I'm in charge of this because I'm on my own. There's no one else here apart from the cat who's curled up on the floor over there. But yeah, I am socially awkward, so don't worry about it. Come in and have a chat. It's fine. It's the alarms that didn't go off, isn't it? What? Backlash over candy is just silly. Yeah. Did you hear that Kilney Court Hotel Standish is going to be... Yes, I mentioned that earlier on. And no, it's not right. Like I said earlier, people who come up to this country and have destroyed their documents should not be put up in a hotel. We've got homeless people on the streets who are maybe drug addicts, alcoholics, whatever, but they are our people and we should look after them. That came out wrong. I didn't mean our people as in our people. I meant our responsibility. People coming over illegally from other countries are not our responsibility. They go back to the last country they came from, which is France, usually. Yeah, it's all very, 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 very complicated. I mean, we all know people who are sofa surfing. I've had people staying here who basically are homeless, and I've got a spare bedroom. I've let them stay in the spare bedroom for a few weeks or a couple of months or whatever, and then they've gone on to do other things and found somewhere to stay or stuff like that. And yeah, you do a little bit to help, but wouldn't it be nice if the government actually paid for them to be kept in a hotel and fed and warm and dry and clean? But no, we're doing it to people who are illegally coming to this country. And don't get me wrong, I have no problem with legal migration. That is fine. We need more nurses, we need more doctors, we need people seasonally to come and pick fruit. We've been doing it for centuries, decades, whatever. No issue with that whatsoever. It's these illegal people who are coming in, who know they're illegal, that's why they destroy the documents, and they come into this country, and then we put them up in a hotel, and we are literally destroying other people's lives. People are losing their jobs from hotels because they're no longer needed, because it's not a hotel anymore now, it's basically a hostel. You've got people having the wedding arrangements cancelled because the hotel now is not a hotel. I mean, the whole thing just stinks. And whether it's, some people think it's, what people are trying to do that you never see, the people above the governments of the world, they're trying to make the whole world into one nation with, one ideology, one religion, one work ethic, one people, rather than people from different countries. We're all part of the world, which sort of makes sense in a way, but we're losing. When I was growing up, and no doubt when many of you were growing up as well, you could tell where people came from because of their accents. But nowadays, you listen to people under the age of 25, and they don't really have an accent anymore, and a lot of that is to do with TV. A lot of TV is American. And so a lot of people kind of learn, how to speak, especially when you're babies, watching television, and you don't really have accents, local accents on then. So if it's a British-made programme, it's just a generic British accent. If it's an American programme, it's just a generic American accent. So the accents are dying away. But it feels like they want to make it even bigger than that and make the whole thing, the whole world, possibly speak the same language, possibly do everything exactly the same. And we don't know who these people are. And it might be absolute crap I'm coming out with. I keep saying I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but the more I think about it, the more conspiracies I get in my head, which is scary. Anyway, I can't see what you're writing. They just... Whoops, where's that gone? They just need to make offensive advertisements. Adverts that are aimed at bringing views of offensive context, just bad overall. Another thing that I've noticed as well, and I pointed out to a few people, is that how many TV adverts for food or furniture or whatever now have mixed race couples in them. Don't get me wrong, I know they're all mixed race couples, but there are more Indian couples, there are more Asian couples, there are more black couples, there are more white couples than there are mixed race couples. Yet for some reason, every family on the TV advertisements at the moment is mixed race. Whether it's a white dad with some black children, or a boy and girl, one black, one white, or whatever. It's like they're trying to indoctrinate subtly all this into life. Now, don't get me wrong, I do know people who are mixed race, in mixed race relationships, but the majority of people I know are in the same race relationships. So English, African, that kind of thing. But again, is this another way of, normalising something that, or over-normalising something that isn't that normal? This is getting quite deep, isn't it? It wasn't meant to be doing. Dum-de-dum-de-dum. I ate my first Skittles in Cyprus. Okay, I enjoyed them. To have an announcement in terms to belittle or make fun of a minority group is kind of silly, yeah. People watch a lot of TV, get an accent. Wing councillors rejected the hotel being used. Alright, okay. Yes, the government did cut funding to processing claims. I'm not saying the government are innocent in all this, don't get me wrong. They developed an accent over time, a lot of practice, real local accent. They all seem to have developed in what I call university speech. You can tell who's been to university by the way they speak. Diversity in university is fine as long as it's making sense and isn't offensive. No, it's not. I'm not saying I'm offended by it. I'm just saying it's just weird how the majority of adverts and couples on TV are a mixed race when in real life they're not. It should be a percentage of. And like I said, there was ironically, a fried chicken advert, I think it was, or might have been bird's eye chicken advert or something, where it was a black family around the table, and they were enjoying these chicken nuggets or whatever it was, and I'm like, yeah, that's fine. But to have every single other advert seem to put in, we've got to have a token black person, or we've got to have a token transgender person. I mean, there's one of these, it's gambling anyway, but one of these things that's got an advertisement that's got, what do they call them, drag queen on it, or something similar. And you're like, yeah, man, we've got a history of drag queens in the UK. I mean, don't forget dames in pantomimes. We've all been to pantomimes and seen dames, but they've not been standing on stage going, and this is what you all should be like. I've spoke to teachers who are concerned about their children that they educate, who are getting totally bamboozled by all this nonsense of multi-races, not multi-races, multi-genders. There isn't multi-genders. You should not be able to do anything with your gender or be told to do anything with your gender until you're at least 18 and you can make your own mind up. To do it before then is, as far as I'm concerned, child abuse. And anyone who's done it to anyone in the past, or anyone who recommends it to anyone, should be arrested and charged with child abuse. Because none of us know up to the age of 18 or 20 what we want to be, what we are. Many people experiment with different things, which is fine. I was just very slow and all that kind of thing. But no, it's just bizarre. Anyway, that's enough of Skittles. There's also mimes and clowns with makeup. That's nothing new. No, exactly. But they're not saying that you shouldn't wear makeup. You should do this, and I'm a man, and I like wearing women's clothes, and you should like wearing women's clothes. No, we're not ramming it down the throat. They're just, we all laugh at them because it's a man dressed up. It's a kid. It's just a silly man dressed up as a woman. But now it's been indoctrinated into them, and it's terrifying. There's a lot of problems as well. We need a referendum. Just hope some problems will get resolved over time. Well, yeah, they will, but hopefully not by a war. Oh, Dotty Lady's got to go now. No worries. Nice to see you on the channel. You take care. Look after yourself, and best wishes to your mum as well. Lionel Richie outrages 20,000 fans after cancelling Earth, Wind and Fire of an hour after start time due to the weather. And people complained that they were waiting all night long. Apparently, water is greater than earth. Wind and fire for Lionel Richie. They cancelled, sold out Madison Square Garden show an hour after it was set to begin, when the singer said he was unable to fly to the Big Apple due to poor weather conditions. He wasn't even in, talk about lazy, he wasn't even in the city. Insane. Gaming addiction ruined lives as players lost jobs, ignored school to spend up to 16 hours a day with video games. Logan Visser arrived in Brigham Young University's Rexburg, Idaho campus as a healthy, happy, competitive wrestler, planning to study business. But within months, a pastime spiraled into an all-out addiction. Video games sent his life off the rails. Absolute nonsense. It's just this. TV crew with the opera turned away from shelter housing Maui fire survivors during Media Mogul's visit. So basically, she's turning into an evil woman. And to be fair, I never liked her anyway, but after the interview she did with Meghan and Harry, which was so obviously staged, that shocked face she pulled when Meghan said she'd been referred to, they asked what colour they think the baby would be, and she did the shock, no! Really? Face. No, she's turning up to do the right thing, to talk to survivors and all that, but she's got a camera crew in tow filming a documentary. No, cough. They did the right thing. Absolute nonsense, woman. North Dakota teen recalls story of surviving after plunging 100 feet at the Grand Canyon. And North Dakota, you know, one of the 9 wonders of the world. Yeah. The North Dakota teen survived a 100-foot fall when he slipped off a cliff at the Grand Canyon during a family vacation. Wyatt Kaufman, 14, recalled the harrowing experience from his hospital bed where he was recovering after suffering 9 broken vertebrae, a ruptured spleen and other severe injuries. So he's recounting the survival story. But the first thing he says is, after the fall, I don't remember anything after that. So he's recounting something he doesn't remember. I mean, it's good he survived, 100-foot fall and all that, but still. Oprah was in Hawaii with a camera crew. I think Oprah lives in Hawaii, to be fair. Yeah. He's very lucky to survive. I've seen other pictures of him, and yeah, he's severely bruised and battered and bashed up. But yeah. US to send Ukraine another $200 million in weapons and equipment using unspent funds granted by Congress. So basically, Congress give them more money, and they've not sent the full amount, so they're adding another $200 million to it. Yacht owned by pro poker player, the line goes up in flames off Spain. Rich people losing their lots. It's yachts. It's a tragedy. Elon Musk says he'll show up at Mark Zuckerberg's doorstep in a Tesla to fight as billionaire trash talk continues. So yeah, Elon Musk and Zuckerberg are going to have a cage fight, and no one gives a flying. Georgia grand jury hands up indictment to Trump 2020 election investigation. The Georgia grand jury investigating former President Donald Trump's efforts to overturn the 2020 election results in the Peach State handed up a sealed indictment on Monday night, approximately 10 hours after hearing testimony voting on potential charges. So yeah, Donald Trump, he going to prison. He must have fainted. Yeah, gone limp. Yeah, he must have gone limp. Because if you're fully awake, you brace, and that's how you get more injured. Whereas if you fall like a rag doll, you're more likely to survive. Although it's against you, as long as you don't hit your head, I suppose you're all right. I would not send you there to Grand Canyon. Seems like a very bad idea. To be fair, I don't think it was that actually the drop for the Grand Canyon. I think it was just in that area, and he fell off a footpath or something and fell 100 feet. I don't think it was like a sheer drop down. I think it was more like a hill. Hope Elon likes breaking private property laws. Yeah. Well, there is a gun thing, but it is relevant, to be fair. Trump supporter shot and killed during an FBI raid was pointing a .357 Magnum at the feds. So basically, yeah, it was all made out that they shot him, and it was all, you know, you shouldn't have shot him. Turns out he was threatening him with a gun, and he'd done it before, so fair enough. Average New Yorkers rocked by inflation. I can't afford proper food. As I've said many times before, inflation is not just in the UK, it's all over the world. It doesn't matter what government you've got, it's affecting everyone. And again, is it the powers that be that we don't know about that are doing it? Maybe it's aliens. New Yorkers are still feeling the pinch thanks to inflation. As experts just revealed, Americans are forking out over $709 more per month on common goods than they did just 2 years ago. So $709 more per month. Not $709 a month on food. $709 more a month on food. Yeah, it's scary. America sorted guns out. No, it's the police with the guns. It's fine. Hi, Smiley Mac. Oh, I've just noticed you've come on. Hiya. Hope you're good. How's your game? Thank God guns are illegal in the UK. Yeah, the problem you've got is even if you ban guns in America, Alex, there are just too many of them there now. It would take a century for the actual law to be, be in force. Migrants rave about spectacular trendy 4-star New York City hotel turned into a shelter. So in America they've got the same problem as we were discussing with Dottie Lady. A 4-star hotel has been turned into a migrant shelter. And the migrants think it's fantastic. They think America's great. Well, of course they do. They're in a hotel that if I went to America I could not afford to even go in the lobby of. So yeah, of course they think it's great. Oh, I've just done that one. Hey, how did that work? I clicked on it and then it come up exactly the same thing again. That does not make sense because it's a different picture. Oh, it's not a different picture. Sorry, my fault. Clueless tourist climbs into Roman's iconic Trevani fountains to fill up a water bottle. Well, I mean, talk about absolute idiots. I mean, who, for a start, fills up a water bottle in a fountain? Because that water's recirculated. So God knows what you'd actually be drinking. And then obviously this fountain. So yeah, put her in prison and just leave her there to rot. Drunk American tourist found sleeping inside Eiffel Tower after breaking in. Now the Eiffel Tower is basically Blackpool Tower without the building at the bottom. So you break into that, I've no idea. Holy crepe. 2 drunk American tourists were found sleeping inside the Eiffel Tower after a wild night out in Paris. Officials said security guards were making their morning rounds before the iconic landmark's 9 AM opening when they stumbled upon the dozing duo and woke them up. Yeah. They found it an area not normally open to the public. Well, it wasn't open to the public still, so you could have left them really, if you think about it. Seems a shame to move them. You couldn't pay me to live in America. We have problems over here, but I'd stay here before I'd ever have an idea of moving to America. Absolutely agreed, Alex. Yeah. Drunk American tourist found sleeping. Oh, yeah, we've done that one. Why am I duplicating myself? You are duplicating. Yes, I am. Well, this is a big blue one, so I'll be alright with this one. There's an elevator in the tower. Yeah, I think this was actually in one of the feet. I think there's things around the feet. I think they were inside that. FDA approves an innovative new spiral tampon shape. See, who says we're not inclusive? It's not your mum's tampon. What? That's a promise made by San Francisco-based startup Sequel, whose spiral tampon design was approved by the US Food and Drug Administration. Since the tampon was invented to absorb menstrual flow in 1931, its design has remained largely the same. That is until 4 years ago when Stanford classmates presented their new spiral tampon featuring diagonal grooves. So basically, it's ridged. Innovation, yes. Disturbing death wall found inside the home of chief suspect in fatal mushroom poisoning. The former home of the woman who prepared the lunch of a suspected fatal mushroom poisoning that killed 3 people featured a creepy death wall with disturbing children's drawings of tombstones and an ominous warning that you don't have long to live. That's a slam dunk then, isn't it? Just a bit. Mum of 6-year-old student who shot Virginia teacher to plead guilty to felony charges, and rightly so. If you allow your 6-year-old not only to handle a loaded gun, but to actually get it out of the house, and then shoot the teacher deliberately, because we've already looked at that months ago, that he actually said he wanted to shoot her, then you do need to face felony charges and go to prison. A fire at Russian fuel station kills 30 and scores are injured. A fire at a fuel station in the southern Russian region of Dagestan late on Monday killed at least 30 people, including 3 children. Russian Emergency Services Ministry said the fire started at an auto repair shop on the roadside of a highway in Dagestani capital on Monday night and caused blast as it spread to the nearby filling station. It's like a war here, someone said, which is slightly inappropriate, bearing in mind this is in Russia. But it's southern Russia. Missiles can't reach that far. That's one fun guy. Yeah, very good smell, except it's a woman, but I get you. Just keeps getting worse. This mushroom story. It does. I'm not giving it much more room, though. To be fair. Next, you're going to say there's a dead goat in the basement sacrificed to Satan. That would not surprise me. King Charles would want to meet grandchildren Archie and Lilibet on 75th birthday. Says an expert who knows all about anything. King Charles wants to finally hug his grandchildren Archie and Lilibet for the first time on his birthday in November, according to a royal expert. Yeah, it's awful when your grandkids are taken away from you. And yeah, he's never even met them. So yeah, horrendous. Can't imagine it. Oklahoma police nabbed teenager accused of defrauding car dealership out of $100,000. Now, that teenager there is 19, allegedly. Got the longest neck in the world. It's what, because you can see on the back, can't you? So his shoulders there, so you got 1 gap, 2 gap, 3 gap, 4 gaps to the back of his neck. So he's got a neck that's 4 of them long, which is half a foot. He's got a half a foot long neck. I mean, he's practically a giraffe. Anyway, would you let someone who looks like that have a £100,000 car? Well, yeah, they did in America. Not because of his neck, because he looks like he's 12. Joe Rogan bashes creepy teachers pushing gender ideology with cartoon pornography. I have no idea what he's on about, but I am being likened to him now. And I'm like, I am not Joe Rogan. I am not screamy shouty. I don't F and blind all the time, because me, that would be boring. And if I have an opinion on something, I state it's an opinion, not what we should do. So, smiling back, human plus giraffe equals him. Yes, exactly. A giraffe indeed. It's he was having a giraffe. Very good. It's Long Johnson. Credit score. Well, God knows, you don't have a credit score at 19, do you? But yeah, I am not anything like Josh Rogan. For a start, I only have 3,000 subscribers, not 3 million. Plus, I only do this once a week, not every day. But yeah, it's the guy's an absolute moron. Although he does say stuff, I suppose, when I'm saying stuff, and people might think I'm a moron as well. So, not there's anything wrong with being a moron, in case you are a moron and you're offended by me saying that moron is a negative thing. Oh, for God's sake. Any God, not just... Oh, Melania Trump distanced herself from Donald's Georgia indictment. It's another problem for her husband and not for her. I agree 100%. Joshua Rogani. You should swap with him. Take his 3 mil. It's the AI memes of his show are funny. I don't watch him. I don't have time to watch anyone else on YouTube. Genuinely. I just don't watch people on YouTube. Because I'm either at work or I'm busy creating. A wanted Georgia man arrested after applying for a job at Arkansas Police Department. No, this is not a joke. Police in Arkansas say a man applying to be a police officer had warrants out for his arrest in Georgia. According to a press release from the police department, 24-year-old thick as pig poo, Justin C. Carter, I might have added a bit there, applied for the police officer position though through an online application while hiding in South Carolina because he's wanted for very serious crimes in Georgia. Do you watch your stuff on YouTube? Why would I watch my stuff on YouTube? I mean, that would be ridiculous. I mean, I have to put up with it when I'm doing it. I don't want to watch it back again. I'll never watch it back again if I'm showing someone something that I did or said or whatever. And that doesn't happen very often. Wanted, so he tries to get a job at a police station. Yeah, but he thought because it was a different state he'd get in there. Imagine applying for a job. To be fair though, you know, the Met Police in London, it would appear that most of them are criminals. So, you know, he'd fit right in, wouldn't he? Anyway, crisis is over in Maui, because spam are sending spam to the islands. I mean, just when you think things cannot get any worse, you get delivered to your burnt out house a box full of spam. Woo, woo, woo. I mean, they get worldwide publicity from it, I suppose. Medical school professor, feminist, says trans kids identifying as minotaurs are part of gender revolution. She should be put in a box somewhere and left. Silence applauding me there for saying that. Either that or she's scratching herself and hitting the furniture she stood next to. A California hospital executive and professor claimed children can identify as mythological inspired creatures and claimed that this category of children love mermaids, according to a presentation. Diane Evans Safdie, a self-identified feminist who supports gender revolution, is a director of medical health and chief psychologist. These people should not be allowed any jobs that involve any public office. They should only be given jobs that involve them shoveling shit, because that is what they're doing to the rest of us. It is absolute nonsense that people like these have jobs of responsibility. The children, no wonder children are confused. I was confused when I was a kid, and there was only 2 genders then. You know, you don't know what you are when you're 6, 7 or 8, and now people are being told that you can be whatever you want. Yeah. Spam beats wildfires, confirmed. Well, yeah, I suppose it does in a way. It's good that Spam are sending something, I suppose. She needs a huggy coat. Yeah. No, it's real. It's America. It's real. It's real, yeah. Identifying as unicorns, that's fine. You can do that. I mean, we all pretend to be something when we're 5 or 6. You know, I was Virgil or whoever it is off of Thunderbirds. Because I remember sliding down the slide in the playgroup. Head first because I was Thunderbirds 3. I kind of forgot that I was going down rather than going up, so instead of taking off, I took the skin of my chin off instead. But, you know, but yeah, and you dress up and all that kind of thing. It's fine. All kids do that. You can't stop kids from doing that. Dressing as a cowboy, dressing as Indian. I got kidded into when I was about 6 to be an Indian, the only Indian. Everyone else was cowboys. And they tied me to a lamppost and left me. God, yeah. Just in a pair of shorts as well, because I was an Indian. Indians don't wear shirts. Yeah, no wonder I got paranoid about my bad hair. But yeah, it's absolute, utter nonsense. That school professor should be fired for not being smart enough for a position. Absolutely. Is this the same thing again? Oh no, this is the Eiffel Tower again. A thrill seeker is arrested after jumping from Eiffel Tower with parachute. No, they were filming the remake of A View to a Kill. And it wasn't a thrill seeker. It was one of my favourite people on the planet, whose name I've forgotten. Slave to the rhythm, dance to the rhythm. Grace Jones. To the rhythm. She wanted to do the car advertisement where the car came out of her mouth because her mouth went like that. It's brilliant. Here's Grace. But no, that woman is a menace to society. The other one, not Grace Jones. Trump calls off the press conference he claimed would offer irrefutable proof of election fraud. Imagine. I have irrefutable proof. More like King Charles, aren't I? I have irrefutable proof that I am innocent of these charges, and I will do a press conference that will irrefutably prove that I am not guilty of any of these charges. Blah, 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 blah. A few days later, yeah, we're not having that press conference anymore now. No, sorry. We're not having it. Sorry. Mystery creature lurking in Texas backyards baffles residents, and they call it a chupacabra. You're like, what? A strange sighting of a 4-legged creature? Well, we don't know it's got 4 legs because we can only see 3 there. Might be a 3-legged creature, or it might be 2-legged creature with a very large gentleman's region. Lurking in the backyard has baffled the residents of a small Texas city, and even has animal experts scratching their heads. Tina Calling from Hill County Village snapped a photo of the bizarre yellowish-brown animal that appears to be about the size of a large dog with a long tail that almost touches the ground and very large pricked ears. I was inside and looked into the yard. Or alternatively, it could be AI. Hashtag just putting it out there. Haha, I have proof I didn't do it. Sorry, my favourite TV show is Can You Wait 5 Minutes? Yeah, or never. Chat GPT helps Iowa school district sift through book to weed out sexually explicit content. Again, for God's sake. We're going to have people offended by people sneezing soon or farting. it's going to be illegal to fart or sneeze in someone's presence. We need a world referendum to stop this nonsense. Get all these people who are pushing this shite, put them on a boat and send them onto an island in the middle of nowhere and just leave them there and forget about them. We'll just get on with the rest of our lives peacefully, happily and together. Just saying. A hyena. Yeah, it could have been a hyena. I believe in the man and woman gender norms, but I also believe non-binary is a complex subject. Yeah, in my head, a 10. My head is a 10. Hurricane Hillary, now a major hurricane with significant impacts expected in the California southwest. Basically, it's turned into a threat to life. It's the first one this early in the season, apparently. Hurricane Hillary grows off Mexico and could reach California as a very rare tropical storm. It's the first tropical storm there in 84 years, causing significant and rare impacts. Well, if it's the first tropical storm in 84 years, it's obviously going to be rare impacts because it's the first tropical storm in 84 years. So obviously it's rare. Now, if it happened every year and then didn't happen, or did happen and it was worse, then that would be rare. Anyway, well, what's that one? Oh, hang on a minute, there we go. US CDC tracks new lineage of virus that causes COVID. The US Centers for Disease Control and Prevention have said that it was tracking a new highly mutilated lineage of the virus called that causes COVID-19. The lineage named BA.2.86 and has been detected in the United States, Denmark and Israel, and is now in the UK as well, as we saw earlier on. As we learn more about BA.28.86, CDC's advance on protecting yourself from COVID remains the same. So basically, just keep washing your hands and don't lick the snot out of someone's nose who you don't know. ChatGPT is full of silliness. You can't trust ChatGPT to give you actual true info. Just do your own work. No, it's not about. It's on about telling the teachers the books they've got in their collection that have got some sexual references in them, so the children won't be offended by some straight heterosexual conduct in a book. That's what it's about. It shall be known as the British Airways variant. Yeah, if you were, a lot of you weren't around on the channel. Obviously, you were around when COVID first came, and I used to do daily vlogs. And it was like there's a new variant in South Africa, and it's killing 40% of the people who've got it. And there's a number of reasons for that, least of which is that they don't have the health service we have here, and people are more prone because it's a poor country. They don't eat as healthily and all that kind of stuff. There's a reason why there was 40%. And then Boris will come on and go, what we're going to do is we're going to ban all aeroplanes from South Africa from next Wednesday. You're like, from next Wednesday? No, you ban them now. As soon as there's a variant that is a threat to the UK, you ban all travel from that country with immediate effect. And anyone flying to that country to a different country to get to our country is immediately placed in quarantine. You stop it. You don't do it a week next Wednesday, or we'll do it on the 4th Thursday of next month. No, you do it there and then. It's ridiculous. But anyway, this isn't that big thing at the moment. Just put the age rating up like when you get ID'd for a video game or movie or pints. I don't get ID'd. In fact, they don't even ask for ID when I got. They just go, yeah, you're old enough. Visual check, yeah, wrinkles, grey hair, beer belly, yeah, alright. What went wrong in Mayu? Controversy builds as death toll continues climbing over 100. Yeah, tragedy is just getting worse as more bodies are found. 10 days after the series of apocalyptic blazes decimated large swathes of the island and killed at least 111 people, locals are still searching for the spark behind the deadliest US wildfires in over a century. What they are saying is that, like I say, that officials did not give enough warning for the people to evacuate, so that's why the death toll is so high. GI jail, where Fanny Willis wants to keep Trump in holding cell, is flagged for dangerous conditions. I'm sure that's a lovely picture, but there you go. The Fulton County Jail, where former President Donald Trump, along with 18 other co-defendants, including his former attorneys Rudy Giuliani, Janet Ellis, and his former Chief of Staff Mark Meadows, are expected to turn themselves in, is currently undergoing an investigation into its dangerous conditions. So basically, yeah, they're going to put him in a cell, and rightly so. And that is it for the USA news. What went on in America? We looked at America. Now we're going down to Australia to see what's going on in Australia. I remember when we had the phone alarm test, I was kind of expecting more tests, to be honest. I was expecting a little bit more than what we got, but anyway. Not everyone got it. Those people, obviously, no, I don't mind if they get COVID, it's fine. So Australia, not many stories in Australia this week. If the Matildas win the semi-final and then win the World Cup final, then yes, we'll pursue a public holiday in New South Wales, says the Mayor of New South Wales, or the President of New South Wales, whatever they are in Australia, of New South Wales. The good news for them is they're not having a they're not having a bank holiday or a public holiday. Because the British knocked them out, and up yours. Erin Patterson, the woman who cooked the fatal mushroom lunch, was also hospitalised after eating the meal. In a written statement, the 48-year-old also revealed where she bought the mushrooms from months before preparing the dish. I am now devastated to think that these mushrooms may have contributed to the illness suffered by my loved ones. Illness? No, they died. I really want to repeat that I had absolutely no reason to hurt these people whom I loved, apart from the death wall that you had. You know, the wall of death. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, guilty until proved innocent, in my opinion. Uh, 300,000 vapes. That's 15 tons, metric tons. A 10 million haul of illegal vapes and nangs in a Perth warehouse is believed to be the biggest bust of its kind in Australia. The illegal jackpot was destined for the black market, uncovered after a tip-off from the public. So well done, Mr. Public. She just happened to survive. Yeah, I mean, it's, to be fair, if you actually poison yourself when you're trying to poison other people, allegedly, then you're not a very good poisoner, are you? Rudest Aussie cities revealed. Did your city make the list? No, because I live in Wigan in the UK. And even if you include Manchester and Liverpool and Preston, which surround Wigan, no, because they're in the UK. However, Australians are known for being pretty laid back. No, they're known for being quite aggressive. But a new study has revealed which cities aren't so easygoing, as judged by their own residents. Some rude behaviours include being absorbed by their phone, not letting people merge into traffic. Well, if they're doing it naughtily, no, you can cough. And being noisy in public. You won't get me being noisy in public. So the top 10 are Cairns in Queensland, Canberra, Melbourne, Geelong, Coffs Harbour, Toowoomba, well, that's just the name, Adelaide, Brisbane, Rockhampton and Bundaberg is the most rudest. But if you look there, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Queensland states, 1 South Australia, which is Adelaide, New South Wales and Victoria, and then I assume Canberra is the Central Territories or something like that. I keep saying if England wins the World Cup, doesn't matter which one, it's male or female. If England wins, we should get a bank holiday. Nah. I couldn't care less about the World Cup. Missing Aussies found alive after lost at sea in Indonesia. 4 Australians who went missing while on a surfing trip in Indonesia on Sunday have been found alive and floating in the water. It was 2 days later, though. A group of 12 were on 2 wooden longboats heading from Neas Island when one of the boats ran into bad weather. Now, if there's 2 boats, how can one run into bad weather and not the other one? This is the first time England could win the World Cup since 1966. Yeah, I know it is, Alex, but I don't care. I've already lived through one World Cup win, just. So, I don't remember it. Too young. But I have lived through it. Oh, I don't care. I don't care. Popular Udis do not meet mandatory safety standards. Nor taste standards either. I mean, basically, you've got a weightlifting avocado. Is it avocado? I don't know. I don't eat stuff like that. Which is misleading for children. Kids Beach Udis sold online are being recalled for not meeting mandatory safety standard required for children's clothing, which probably means if you put them on a fire, they'll burn. But don't put your kids on a fire. Yeah, at least they're safe now. Yeah. Victorian government to pay 380 million Australian dollars for ditching the Commonwealth Games. The Victorian government has agreed to pay $380 million to parties involved after deciding to withdraw from hosting the 2026 Commonwealth Games, and rightly so. You know, it's probably less than what they would have lost, but still, you've got to face some consequences for all that. And then it comes to the and finally bit, and what's been going on in the world of fun this week. Oh, a bit more than I thought, to be fair. So this is just stuff that's made me smile, or made me go, huh? Or whatever in the week. Victorian government, are they living in the past? Very good. See, when you die, you actually just move to another country and you're reborn again. And all the Victorians now live in Victoria, Australia. Yeah, true fact. UK and Ireland is hosting the European football games in a couple of years. Woo-woo. This is from Viz. Scientists claim that spider silk is one of the strongest materials known to man. Well, how come I've just punched a hole straight through one of their webs and I'm not even that hard? Which made me smile. Didn't also beg the question as to what part of his body he punched the hole through with. But I wouldn't go down that route because obviously this is a PG. Meanwhile, Elon Musk declares nudes start tomorrow as fans await his first X video. Ex-boss Elon Musk made a racy claim in the social media platform declaring nudes would start tomorrow, and his astonished followers are now waiting for the billionaire's first X video. Yeah, oh, jeez, I can't imagine anything worse other than looking at my body naked. British armies to transform soldiers into Terminator hybrids with superpowers. The British Army plans to make use of state-of-the-art gadgets in a bid to create bionic soldiers by 2030. They will be wearing exoskeletons to boost strength and speed. Yeah, the other problem is, as we now know, the war is mainly drones. We live under Spaghetti Junction racetrack. It's worrying without sirens, says someone. The concrete icon that is Spaghetti Junction has been used by motorists for over half a century, but beneath the 5 layers of motorway and A roads are residents who can't sleep without its traffic. Apparently there's some roadworks going on and some maintenance going on, so some of the roads have not being used anymore while they fix them and get them all repaired after 50 years, and the silence is deafening for the people who live underneath. No one wants to see that mech suits with people in them. Yeah, exactly. Flying orbs films spinning around plane. It shows proof of teleportation. You're like, what? It doesn't show proof of anything. The apparent satellite footage shows 3 mysterious orbs spinning around a moving plane before a flash struck. People are divided over the clip, which some have argued the video cannot be fake. Of course not, because AI can't fake anything. That Spaghetti Junction looks like something I could make into City Skylines. Absolutely. Spaghetti Junction is amazing. I love driving through it because it's just roads everywhere, all different angles and different heights. It's just brilliant. I wouldn't live anywhere near it though. Brits left divided over Gordon Ramsay's tattoo, as some say it's worst ink ever. This Gordon Ramsay inspired tattoo has left Brits divided on Twitter. Well, Twitter doesn't exist, so yeah, that's just nonsense. The irony is it doesn't show the tattoo because it's clickbait, and I don't go for clickbait. A UK STI boom as Brits come back from holidays with itches and gross discharge. Nice. Brits returning from holidays abroad are bringing back unwanted souvenirs in the form of sexually transmitted infections, with one expert in warning of a possible bloom in STIs. See what he did there? Very clever. Meanwhile, a revengeful tiger waited outside victim zone for 12 hours before ripping head off. A 47-year-old poacher was the first victim of the predatory beast as he was stalked and killed by the tiger, with his headless and disemboweled body found near his hut. I don't think the tiger was revengeful because tigers don't have that in their brains. But yeah, I have no issue with wildlife fighting back, particularly against poachers. If they've sorted out teleportation, cool. I just don't care, I'll just catch the bus. Yes, exactly. Deadly super drug leaving trail of bodies across US is now flooding the UK. Fentanyl and other synthetic opioids are flooding the United States and causing more than 100,000 deaths in just 12 months. And they are now in the UK, mainly on the big city streets. So be warned. As Donald Trump compares latest charges to a witch hunt, lawmakers say, ironically, Salem is the only city in which he's not under investigation. Do you get that? Salem trials, Salem witch hunts. Yeah, no? I thought it was funny. Banksy, I like a bit of Banksy. If you remember on the bus trip things, I actually went to the Banksy exhibition when it was in Salford. Paid 25 quid to go in. It was actually quite good. I enjoyed it. But this is a nice Banksy picture. I like that. Very good. And we know these are Banksy's because this is Banksy's official streaming thing. And they're saying that is Banksy. Whether it is or not, I don't know. But I really like what he's done to the Banks station. Good on the tiger. Yes, definitely. Yeah, cougars are worse, aren't they? Have they got any proof, or is it just saying, oh yeah, it's totally the big cities guys to be worried? Yeah, exactly. Another thing from Viz, I received a flyer in the post from Subway addressed to #1 Subway fan. I admit that I have purchased an overpriced sandwich from them in the past, but I doubt very much that I am their #1 fan. I am probably not even in the top 100. If their true #1 fan is reading this, please let me know and I will happily forward their gift of some well-earned discount coupons. I do love the British sarcastic humour. I just think it's brilliant. But yeah, not even in the 100. It was a sad week this week. It was the 2nd anniversary of the passing of Sean Locke, who, as a comedian, I thought he was okay, but on 8 out of 10 Cats Does Countdown, it was hilarious. So I thought we'd have a little quote from him. Most Brits judge other people by their shoes, true or false. For me, shoes are just a barrier between dog shit and my socks. Absolutely. No one knows who Banksy is. I'll take the coupons if he's not having them. British Magaluf sees posh town ruined by drunk partygoers and bratty teens. Padstow in Cornwall, of all the places. Padstow. Padstow in Cornwall has been clubbed the British Magaluf despite being renowned for its natural beauty and mesmerising harbour, due to the antics of drunks and youths who seemingly have taken over. And to be fair, if you showed me that picture, I would have said it was Ibiza or something like that. But no, it's a quaint little village. I love it. Company throws Ibiza-style pool party in a skip, complete with a DJ and a mankini. A skip-turned swimming pool filled with floats, a DJ, speakers, disco lights and live drummer made the ultimate and extremely unique summer party in Manchester. I've heard of the skip swimming pool before, but yeah, some companies hired it, which I think is genius. And a model who offered nudes for Maui wildfire donations as GoFundMe page removed. Model Maria Casellas was offering nude pictures in exchange for donations made to help the victims of the Hawaii's wildfires as the death toll reached over 100 people. It's a bizarre thing to do. I know what I'll do. I'll take my clobber off, let people look at my pictures, but they have to donate to a charity. Yeah, and the Just Giving page has deleted her. Who'd have thought? But anyway, she's got the publicity she wants. She hasn't had to get her bits out, and she's now world famous. So, yeah, well done. Result. Shame that no one from Hawaii is benefiting from this. Of course, you could always set up an OnlyFans page. Hashtag just saying, no, I will not be a member. I'm a creator, not a viewer. On YouTube, just to clarify. So, anyway, that is it for the news this week. Let's have a quick look at... oh, hang on. There we go. Go back to breaking news. And we'll just see if there's any breaking news that's broke whilst we've been on air. Now, Wigan beat Bolton 4-0. Bolton won every game up to now in the League One, but Wigan beat them, and they've now got 1 point after 3 wins and 1 draw because they started with -8. Something like that anyway, I don't know. Was it -9? I don't know. It might be -10. I don't know. It's football, I don't care. Dum-de-dum-de-dum. Da-da-da-da-da. Huge protest threatened to derail Dutch Grand Prix. The Prime Minister hails Lionesses' lasting legacy as excitement builds ahead of World Cup final. No, it's not. Definitely not. Ecuador elections dominated by fears of assassination and violence. I didn't cover it, but well, I think I did actually cover it. One of the leaders of the opposition was assassinated, which isn't good. There's an abnormal situation at Russian spacecraft. Don't know what that means, but it's got more dislikes than likes, so it's obviously clickbait. Nectar issues shoppers urgent warning ahead of major changes to points. I don't have a Nectar thing, so that's fine. Manchester United transfer news. 5 players who could sign to rescue their season. What do you mean rescue their season? They've only had 1 or 2 matches, haven't they? And when wearing a face mask is recommended with iris emerging as dominant COVID. But that's the Daily Express, they always say stuff like that. And the Co-op is rolling out dummy display packaging across more stores to prevent shoplifting. So basically, you have to pick up something that says what you want, and then you go to the till, and then they scan it before they give it you. Because that's the society we're living in. Anyway, let's have a look at where we're up to. I did hear about the sad news at Everton this week. It was horrendous. Really, really bad. Anyway, yeah, they've done a last memorial and all that. I'm trying to figure out why that is there. Oh, that's because, yeah, I set it up before I actually started. No, I didn't set it up at 3 AM. Why is it saying that this has been on for 15 billion hours? Anyway, give a big shout out to everyone. So JT, Angela O'Kane, Alan Barton, Alex S from Standish, Luke Williams, Daniel Vernon, a Dotty Lady. Who else have we had? We've had a few. Cougar Town, Luke Williams. Quite a lot of chat today, to be fair, which is good. That's what we want. We like interaction, otherwise what's the point? Smiley Mac. What? Cat knows I'm coming to the end of this broadcast because she's now walking around between my legs. She does for attention. Well, that's it. So we've got 10 people currently watching. We've had 7 likes, which is good. Thank you. Average view duration is 11 minutes 47 seconds. We've had 75 views overall. We've got a chat rate of 1. Most viewers we had at any one time was 13, and that was on 2 occasions. You never know with how crazy the news is. We could have a general election next week. That is true, Alex. And I'll tell you now, if we did have a general election next week, I would vote Tory. Even though I hate them. Just because I know that the Tories are crap. What I don't know is what Keir Starmer stands for, and he's going to be crapper. So therefore I would vote Tory at the next general election if it happened next week. Keir Starmer's got a lot to do to convince me to vote for anyone else at the minute, even though the Tories are shite. Yes, I know they are. But sometimes better the devil you know, as Kylie Minogue once said. Better the devil you know, better the devil you know, whoa, whoa, whoa. Better the devil you know, better the devil you know. It's like she's in the room, isn't it? Anyway, so massive shout out to everybody. Thank you very much for watching, if indeed you still are. All being well, I'll be seeing you again. Stay safe, and you never know, I might be back on shortly when I've had something to eat, if I can be bothered, doing a bit of retro gaming, or even current gaming. I've not played anything current for a while. So yeah, stay safe, look after yourselves, and I'll see you all again next time. Until then, bye! Sorry, that was a bit childish. I do apologise. I apologise for that. Well, do I? Yes, I do. Do you though? No, sort of. But do you though? Yeah. My watch history is off. I don't care. It's off for a reason, you absolute idiots. Why do you think it's off? Dum-de-dum-de-dum. Dum-de-dum. Right, why is it not showing my live broadcast? Why do they keep updating things and make them worse? I have no idea. Everyone just wants to know everything. No, I don't want premium either. God's sake. I've got to my channel. There we go. I'll definitely be back for another one of these. Oh good, you've enjoyed it? That's good. Alright, I'm on my phone. So yeah, I'm off. Thank you for watching. See you again. Bye.